Master Jailer. I posted a poll on my community tab for my next retrospective, and he lost. However, I've already done the video on the winner of the poll, that being Midnight, and Master Jailer is the one who I want to do it on the most. So I thought, why not do it? Master Jailer first appeared in Superman issue 331 from 1979. And the question I have is, does anyone else think he looks like a gray Ninja Turtle? Or am I just crazy? Or both? Master Jailer AKA Carl Draper, really? He grew up in Smallville and was often bullied for being overweight. He would have an obsession with traps, which makes sense considering his last name. And he would end up having a crush on Lana Lang. He would end up trying to work on himself to be what he thought was her type, only to learn that Lana had eyes for Clark. He was angry and kidnapped her because that's what you do when you get rejected. That's a joke. Don't ever do that. However, Superman would go through multiple traps to save her, and then he tossed Carl into prison. This version of the character would return 7 more times, the majority of which actually had him going against Supergirl and not Superman. His entire motivation was merely that he was jealous of Superman. All of his plans were always about traps, and the stories were always about how the heroes can get out of them, which can make for a pretty fun story, but character-wise, Master Jailer wasn't really needed. Any villain could have taken his place. And you didn't really feel sympathetic for the guy because his whole reason for being a villain makes not a lot of sense. He's not mad at the bullies for bullying him, he's mad at Lana for not loving him. He's practically just like really a creep. We'd also see him in flashbacks in the Avengers of Superboy comics, where he'd be a teen villain named Couture, still with a deadly crush on Lana. However, we got a little bit more on why he loves traps so much. You see, he was never a smart guy. That was until he set his sights on Lana, which motivated him to try to be smarter, and that was in traps. What? What do you think Lana is into that's what he came up with? She's not going to be impressed by Shakespeare or rocket science, but traps. Anyways, as Couture, he would be beaten by Superboy. PostCrisis would be reimagined as an engineering strategist, which explains the traps. The character, for the most part, was completely different, with his whole history of Lana and Clark now being gone. Instead, he worked for Checkmate and was assigned to capture Superman. But when he failed, he would be obsessed with wanting to catch him because he wanted to prove to himself that he could and was more than capable of doing so. New 52 he would no longer exist, but in Rebirth he would be brought back to be a part of the Suicide Squad, where he would help out during the Atlantis Arc, of which was his last because he got killed off in Aquaman issue 40 in 2018, when a member of the team betrays them. And Master Jailer was caught in the crosshairs, leaving him dead. That's an unfortunate end. The character would also appear in the first season of Supergirl, having once been a guard on Fort Ross, and when the prisoners escaped, he would be hellbent on killing all of them, even the ones who were reformed. Kara and Alex did manage to bring a stop to him. This version of the character is probably the most known version of the character. I say that because when I googled Master Jailer, this is the version of the character that always popped up. He's very different than his comic book counterpart, or counterparts, technically, with him here being an alien, which I guess is a pretty okay upgrade. However, we didn't really have any traps this version of him. He was more just about jailing people and then, well, murdering them. The character of Master Jailer, I think, is an okay idea. However, the original version of him was, in my opinion, very creepy. Well, the second version of him I thought was actually very good. I really like the idea that he was so obsessed with wanting to capture Superman because he failed the first time. He also had a very distinct look, which I really liked. Well, the original version of him had a look that, like I said, reminded me of a Ninja Turtle. The live-action version of the character I also thought was okay. Well, Rebirth version of the character was barely there, he just got killed. However, I understand that you need red shirts for the team too, because they want to kill off characters. So I get it. Even if I will admit I was a little sad that he died pretty quickly. His whole thing of wanting to date Lana and when she rejected him was, in my opinion, very, very creepy. Especially because he didn't become a villain because he was bullied and didn't go after those bullies. He went after Lana because she rejected him. It just has very creepy undertones, in my opinion. And could be handled in a good way by showing how, like, obsession isn't a good thing. But the way it was handled was, like, it was trying to make us sympathetic towards him, which I think was a bad idea. Well, like I said, the obsession with Superman wanting to catch him was, in my opinion, a very good idea. I'm not sure if he will return. Considering the fact that he just died, I guess he probably will return eventually. Well, not just died, like 5 years ago he died. But no one ever stays dead in comics, and if you just died recently, that means you're probably going to come back eventually. Anyways, that's it. Like always, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!